guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with part 2 of an exciting video that I have for you, and that is my favorite romance authors recommend their favorite romances. So I did this back in like April. I'll link the first one down below, so if you're like, you're missing some important authors, I've already asked them. So check out that one first. And how this works is I recommend some of my favorite books from my favorite authors, and then I ask them what book they would recommend to you guys. So I got some really exciting responses. So excited that some of them did respond, and some of them that didn't last time were like, where is this person? And I'm like, well, I forgot, or they were busy, like Penelope Douglas. She responded. So I will go ahead and get to all these books and the author's recommendations. So the first person I reached out to who got back to me was Samantha Young. I adore her On Dublin Street series. This one's old, but so good. I have not yet read her paranormal romance series. I'm dying to read that though. And the On Dublin Street series, it takes place in Scotland, and they are new adult romances, and they are so good. Book 3 is my favorite. It's Friends to Lovers. Book 1 is kind of Enemies to Lovers, and they're just amazing. I really love them. I also really like her Hearts Boardwalk series. These are just really cute contemporary romances. They take place on a boardwalk, and I enjoyed them. So check out Samantha Young if you haven't yet, but she recommended classic The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This one I think we all know, we all love. It takes place in Alaska. Her father is dying, so she has to go and visit him, falls in love with Jonah, who's a pilot. It's so good. I love this one. Great choice, Samantha, because I definitely recommend The Simple Wild as well. Next is a new favorite of mine, and that is Diana Quincy. I had to reach out to her for this one because I read this after I did my initial video. This one is Her Night with the Duke. I loved it, and I'm dying for book 2. The cover, I'll show you. I'm gonna hate it because I'm gonna forget to find this cover, and I'm gonna go find it now while I'm editing. But this cover is so adorable, and it is his friend's, Griff, I think is his name. I'm excited. This one, she is a widow, she travels, she writes about her travels, and she spends the night with the Duke at an inn, and then it turns out that he is intended to be engaged to her stepdaughter, who's her age. So it's fabulous. I loved it. Check it out. I knew that Diana was going to have some good historical recommendations. So the first one I just read is 9 Rules to Break When Romancing a Rake by Sarah McLean. This one, classic Sarah McLean. I don't know what took me so long to read it. I didn't even know it existed until Lacey picked it for a book club pick, but she's a spinster, and she makes a list of things she wants to do because she's tired of just being a spinster, and she's like, I could just do whatever I want now since no one's gonna marry me and it doesn't matter. And this guy, this rake, ends up helping her with the list and running into her every time she does a list, and they fall in love. And it's so good. So good choice there. And the next one is The Secret Pearl by Mary Balogh. I don't know what this is about. I know Mary Balogh is definitely a very iconic historical romance author. Okay, so it says that I think she might be a prostitute, I don't know. So he spies her in the shadows outside of a London theater, a ravishing creature forced to barter her body to survive. So then they have a night together, and it turns out she ends up accepting a position as the governess to a young girl, and it's discovered her midnight lover is a powerful nobleman. So he is actually really well off, and as two wary hearts ignite, the threat of scandal hovers over them. One question remains: will she be his mistress or wife? This sounds so good. I'm gonna click want to read on that one. Thank you, Diana, for that fabulous recommendation. I'm excited. The next one I think is funny because this author recommended a different author I reached out to. So we have Katie Robert. I had to ask her. I love Katie Robert. Desperate Measures is her villain dark romance series with the like Disney villains. So this is Jafar and Jasmine. This is the only one I read in this series, but I also loved Sacrifice, which is a vampire MMF novella, and it's fabulous as well. So check those two out if you haven't. But Katie Robert recommends Talia Hibbert with Get a Life, Chloe Brown. She said it's the perfect trifecta of humor, feels, and heat. One of my favorite romance series of all time. Katie, I definitely agree because I'm recommending this one too in this video. I love Talia Hibbert so much. So we'll see. Talia's the next one. So this, I love Talia Hibbert. And she responded to me, and these are amazing. This is Chloe. This is Danny. I think I love Danny better, but I have Eve Brown's book on my Kindle, but I'm waiting until 2021 to read it because I don't want to love it and not be able to put it on my favorites of 2021 list. I think it comes out like March or something. These are amazing. I asked Talia, what romance would you like to recommend? And she says she has so many books she'd love to recommend, but she said The Jezebel by Dylan Allen, which, interesting. So I've read a few Dylan Allen books. Oh, it's book 3 in a series. So this one, love that cover. I really like Dylan Allen's covers. So this one says So it starts off saying stone rivers is a sin I can't commit. So I think, so it says like she's played a role her whole life, so she doesn't know who she is anymore. The boy from her past walked back into her life. He's very handsome, he's charming, he's temptation personified, and they have insane chemistry, but it says their present's just as messy as their past. Can they be together? She's a mother, a sister, and a daughter. And it says we're a scandal in the making. That sounds so good. It has a 4.3 rating on Goodreads. It only has 485 ratings though, so what to read. I'm excited. All these people are giving it like 5 stars, so thank you, Talia, for that recommendation. Oh, okay, I've seen the cover of book 2 and book 1. I didn't know there was a book 3. So the first one's the Legacy, the second one's the Legend, then the Jezebel. So I've seen the first 2 covers. I've never seen this cover, but that looks really good. Thank you, Talia, for the recommendation. I then reached out to Joanna Shoup. She's one of my new favorite historical romance authors. This one is The Rogue of Fifth Avenue. I've read all 3 of the books in the series, I believe, and I really enjoyed them. I don't remember what the second one is, but the third one has that pink cover, and it was really good. This one, our main character does a lot of charity work, and her dad's lawyer ends up having to help her with something, and it's Frank, and it's so good. She is awesome, he is awesome, and he comes from a really not well-off past, and so he's had to prove himself and get to where he is today, and it's fun. He does get annoyed with her for like going out and doing dangerous things, but I really enjoyed this. So she recommends one that she rereads a lot, and that is A Beautiful Bastard by Christina Lauren. Classic romance. I read this, really enjoyed it. Hate to love office romance. We all know what this book is. She also recommended, she says, if you need a 2020 release, she said Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. This one's fake dating, kind of hate to love. They don't really like each other. Lots of back and forth in this one. It is on the Goodreads 2020 awards list. People love it. It's a good romance. Then my girl Penelope Douglas, she responded to me. I didn't reach out to her for the first time because I know she's taking a break from social media. Figured she was not going to respond. I love these books, and the Devil's Night series. Birthday Girl is boyfriend's dad romance. Punk 57, one of my favorite books of all time. I need to reread it again. I've read it twice now, and I never reread books, but I love this so much. They're pen pals, and then one of them cuts off communication, and then he shows up at her school and doesn't tell her it's him. So it's also hate to love. Very good. Penelope actually is releasing a novella for the Devil's Night series, Fire Night. I just finished it this morning. Really good. She gave me an e-arc of it, so I was really excited for that. It is 4.5, and it takes place over Christmas, so check it out. It's out Tuesday. She recommended, I'm intrigued by this book and I'm scared to read it, Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma, and she says, but it's not an HEA. I'm pretty sure this is the incestuous relationship romance, like a brother and a sister. I haven't read it, and I'm terrified to read it. I know people love it though. Do you think I'll love it? Let me know. Then she said, you can say Easy by Tamara Weber. This one I read a long time ago. This is probably one of like the breakout new adult books, one of the first new adult ones that kind of set the genre, and I remember reading it. Don't remember too much about it. I'm pretty sure like a scandal happens. I think there's sexual assault in here, and he is there to help her through it, so pretty sure that's this. I know the cover. I can see it, and I read it way back when I was in college, so I remember loving it. Then Christina C. Jones responded to me, and I was very excited because if you guys have been watching me this year, I have been obsessed with Christina C. Jones's books. Getting Schooled was the first book in the series. I loved the first 2 books in this. So good. The first one is kind of like bickering to love, and she's an graduate assistant to her mother who's a professor, and he's a student in the class. The second one is they're both in the medical field, and he's a doctor and she's a nurse, and they hate each other, and they fall in love. And then I did enjoy I Think I Love You. I think that's what it's called. That one's hate to love as well. They're just so fun. Inevitable Conclusions is Friends to Lovers. So good. I just can't get enough of her books. So she told me that she loves, I've never heard of this before, she'd love to recommend the New Beginning series by Nicole Falls, a trio of female athletes who are all besties. So I'm all in for that. So let's look. Nicole Falls. I've never heard of this author before, actually. So this one is called The Change Up, the first one, and it has a 4.55 rating, so that's gonna go on to read list. So she's a girl who plays baseball. That's cool. She stepped away from playing the sport until a chance exhibition places her at the center of attention once again. And he's a sports blogger who's too opinionated about how excellent she really is and challenges her to a competition to prove his superiority. That's like sounds like it's hate to love, and she's a girl who plays baseball, which is awesome, and apparently like it's the trio of best friends and they all play sports. Oh, that sounds good. Okay, The Restart is book 2 and she plays soccer. So that's exciting. I'm guessing there's probably gonna be a third book. I don't know. The first one came out in 2019. This one came out in February 2020. So that sounds amazing. I'm excited to read that. Thank you so much, Christina C. Jones, for that recommendation. Then I reached out to Pam Godwin. I love Sea of Ruin. It is a dark historical pirate romance. Very, very dark. Very, very good. Trigger warnings though, because it's very, very dark. Lots of sexual assault, just assault in general of our main character. It's a love triangle between her husband, pirate, and a Commodore who's trying to kill them. So, very good. So, Pam just told me an author, and she said Jewel E. Ann. So, I have seen a lot of people read Jewel E. Ann. I cannot say that correctly. Jewel E. I have a couple of her books. I haven't read them before, but I think Lacey really loves her. I think Look the Part is one that Lacey really liked. I've seen Transcend before as well, but I don't know. Let's look at Look the Part. This one, so it has a 4.2 rating on Goodreads, and it has 15,000 reviews, so people like it. He is letting someone rent the office above his law office, and she plays music, so she does music therapy, and he is angry. And so, he has an autistic son, and his son ends up liking her, so we can't get rid of her. That sounds so good. I'm gonna have to read this one. I'm gonna have to read more Julie Ann. I haven't read anything from her. I think I own a couple of her books though, so thank you, Pam Godwin, for the recommendation. Then I had to ask Christina for it. She's the only YA author on this list. This one though is like, she's out of high school, so I believe that she just graduated from high school, and he's definitely out of high school because he like put off college. This one, they run around New York together. She is an actress who really ruined her reputation in the beginning, so she's struggling to get over what her future can hold, and so she asks her grandmother for help, and then her grandmother disappears, and so her and this guy who's been helping out her grandmother run around New York together, kind of fall in love in the process. It's so good. I also loved her first one, I Want to Be Where You Are. This one was much more YA. So good. It's in my classroom now, so I don't have my copy here. Christina recommended The Voting Booth by Brandy Colbert, I think is how you say your name. I listened to this actually, and I really loved this one, and I think the romance was just so cute, and our main character is really passionate about voting, and so it's election day. She's kind of on the rocks with her boyfriend. He's like saying things that are making her mad, and she ends up running into a guy about her age who's a senior in high school who is having trouble voting, and so they spend the whole day getting him to vote, and other things happen, and they spend the whole day together, which is very similar to this. They spend a lot of time together doing something, and in the voting booth they do as well. So good. Such a cute romance. I was so into the romance. Obviously there's no cheating in here. I'll just say that. Even though she's got a boyfriend that's on the rocks, you can guess what happens to that. So very good. Christina has fantastic taste in YA romance. So thank you, Christina, for your recommendation. And those are all the authors that responded to me when I asked them. I did reach out to some more authors, but maybe they were busy. Maybe they didn't know what to recommend. Maybe they just think I'm weird and didn't want to respond. But those are the ones that did respond. Thank you so much to those authors for responding to my requests. I loved seeing your recommendations. Hopefully you guys got some recommendations. You see me talk about these authors all the time, so hopefully they gave you some good recommendations. If my recommendations are old, I can't wait to read what they recommended, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.